87 gives us two individual functions here. They give us the f function, which is that quadratic, and the g function, which is this linear function. And they want us to construct a new function by composing these two functions together. So we want to find g of f. So I'm going to write that, g of f. Here's what g of f means. This means g of f of x. And if I just read it and write what I read, I've got it. G of f of x. G of f of x. Now let's just start here. What is f of x? F of x, that's right up here, right? We're given f of x. F of x is x squared plus 7. So I'm going to replace that f of x with exactly what it is, x squared plus 7. So we'll have g of x squared plus 7. And now what do you do with the x squared plus 7? You process it with g. So you locate g right here, and you can see that that x has been replaced with x squared plus 7. So that tells you to replace all the x's with x squared plus 7. So that x right there, I'm going to replace that with x squared plus 7. So we will get 2, and then the x is holding the place for that x squared plus 7. And we've got a plus 8 out there, right? I've got 2, x squared plus 7, plus 8, right here. Now multiply through by the 2. We'll get 2x squared plus 14 plus 8. So how about 2x squared plus 22? So we'll conclude now that this new function, g of f of x, is equal to 2x squared plus 22. What is it that we're actually doing here? Let's draw some circles. All right, so I might start with an x value. Now that x could be any number at all. Okay, it's just x. Any number you like. Now, what do you do with that x? Well, first of all, you process it with f. So you take that x, you process it with f, use the f rule, and get an output. Now, this is done in general, so it's just f of x. Then, what do you do? Now, what is f? F was this one, x squared plus 7. Right, so you pick some number, put it into f, and what do? You square it and you add 7. You get some number back. Now, what do you do with this number? Now, you take that number and you put it into g, right? You put that into g. So you put that number into g, and g is 2x plus 8, and that gets you this result, which is g of f of x. So what we've done is we started with this x value, any value at all, processed it with f, got an output, took that output, processed it with g, and that got us over here to this result. Now what we could do, instead of going through this intermediate value by computing each individual function, what if we go nonstop from here to here? That's what we'd like to do. Just go from here to here. All right, that's exactly what we have created down here. That is this rule right here. And we're going to name it g of f. All right, so this rule, that is this one here, 2x squared plus 22, and we give it a name. The name is g of f. So now I've got three functions. I can do the individual functions, f and g, or I can take the nonstop way and just go g of f. Right, so I got an individual f, an individual g, and an individual g of f. The g of f just gets me from the beginning to the end quickly. Number 89, we're given two linear functions. We're given this g function. It says to take whatever comes in, multiply it by 5, and add 7. Then we're given this h function that says whatever comes in, just add 8. And what we want to do is compose these two functions together. Now I'm going to draw a picture of what's going on, and then we'll actually do this. I'll draw some circles here. Draw 3 circles. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with some number, any number you like. We'll call it x. Then what we could do is we could process this with g, could process it with G, which says to take whatever comes in, whatever number you choose there, multiply it by 5 and add 7. Right? That gets you some output, and the name of that output is G of x. Then we take that G of x, use it as an input to h, right? We take this output here, put it into the h function, put it here, add 8, and that gets us over to h of g of x. But if we do things this way, we have to go through that intermediate value. I start with this, I start with some number, process it with g, that gives me a new number. Take that new number, process it with h, that gives me this resulting number. Now that's fine, or what we're going to do is we're going to create a new function that goes from the beginning to the end non-stop. We're going to skip that intermediate value. So this is what it is that we're going to build here. And what are we going to call it? We're going to call it, now just read it. What does it say? H of g. That's going to be the name, h of g. So we're going to name this function h circle g. So let's do it. Here's what this means. This means, so let's start. Here's what this means. It means h of g of x. I can get that if I just read it, right? H of, like an O, it's a circle, but I'll read it as O for of. H of g of x, h of g of x. Now what is this g of x? Well, g of x, we're told, is right here. G of x is 5x plus 7. So I'll put a 5x plus 7 here. So I'll get h of 5x plus 7. And now what to do with the 5x plus 7? Well, I'm going to process it with h. So locate h right here. And we're taking that x, replacing it with 5x plus 7. So take that 5x plus 7 and put it right here. All right, what I'm doing is I'm going to take that 5x plus 7 and put it right there. We will get 5x plus 7 and then a plus 8. All right, so we're going to get what? 5x plus 15. So we are saying now that the new function that we built, the non-stop function from the beginning to the end, h of g, let me write that so it's almost readable. H of g of x is this new function, 5x plus 15. So instead of going through the individuals, you start with some number, process it with g, process it with h. We could go nonstop using this new function that we're calling h circle g, which is this one here, right? That's this one down here. I'll put it right up here. 5x plus 15. So we have an individual. You start here with x. What do? You multiply it by 5, add 7. That's g. You take that function, put it into h. Now what was h? That is x plus 7. So instead of using those two individuals, I could just go nonstop from beginning to the end by using this rule right here.